And welcome again to the Hebrew Canaanite YouTube channel. My name is Alon, and today I'm coming to you. Okay, my mistake was that I forgot to turn on the Wi-Fi. So again, today I'm coming to you not from the occupied Palestinian city of Haifa, where I live and where I usually do my live streams, but again, like the other day, from Lisbon, where I am visiting now. And in the last live stream 2 days ago, I was talking about. Let me see. Can anyone write anything in the chat? Because I don't know if I can see the chat right now. Oh, okay. Hello, hi brother. Zahra, is that your name? Am I pronouncing it correctly? So yeah, I can see the chat. Wonderful. And please tell me if you can hear everything well. Tamar, hi Tamar. We have Tamar with us as well. I pronounced it correctly. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so please, if there's any problem with the sound, with the image, please tell me. So yeah, in the previous live stream that I did again from Lisbon 2 days ago, I told you mainly about my plans for the next few weeks of traveling around Europe with several goals. One of them is to try to find a new place to live away from the crazy cult of Zionism. And the other is to meet people who share my vision of a free Palestine and a free planet, Earth, for everyone, for all living beings. And another goal is to learn about what the world is like outside the cult and to report it on this channel and to promote this channel and to make it into something more real. Not that it's not real right now, but I want to make it more sustainable, more robust. So, a lot of people sent me messages with like invitations to all kinds of places and very, very kind messages. I apologize that I still didn't have time to answer many of them. It's pretty crazy, like trying to, both travel and take care of myself and plan for the future and answer messages and all these things. So I promise I will answer all your messages very soon. And for now, I will just say a collective thank you to everyone who gave suggestions and directions and ideas and kind offers. Just collectively for now, and I will answer all of you personally later on. Oh, and before I forget, please smash that like button. Okay, smash that like button. If you're watching, there's 18 people watching and only 8 likes. So many of you did not smash that like button. So please make sure that you do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if you want to help the channel grow even more, again, click the like button whenever you watch anything that I did. You can share the videos with people who you think might find them interesting. You can leave comments, that helps with the algorithm, and you can join my Patreon if you have a couple of bucks lying around that you can give every month. You can give as little as $2 every month, and that goes a long way. If enough people do that, I can continue doing this and not worry too much about sustaining myself. So if you can do that, that would be amazingly appreciated. Okay. So today I want to tell you a few experiences that I had I've been in Lisbon for a week and a half. And a week out of that was together with Tamar. But a few days ago, she flew back to Palestine, and she already hates the Zionist cult because she is now, again, inside the Zionist cult. She already hates it. The moment that she landed in Palestine, she already hated it because she already was treated badly. So Tamar, hi, I miss you. I wish you were here. I wish we could be together in a same place, and this is what I'm working on right now. Just to maybe correct misconception that I thought I saw in the airports are particularly oppressive. That is a very good point, Ori. That is a very good point. And I think it's part of what I want to talk about, okay? If I don't mention airports, Ori, please mention them again, because I think it will connect to what I have to talk about, okay? There's a general theme running around in my mind that I haven't really, specified into like concrete terms, but it connects to airports. Definitely, it connects to airports. Okay, airports are like, and borders in general. It's something. There's something about it that exposes the system. Okay, so please remind me if I don't mention this point. Please remind me later. Okay, so what was I saying? What was I talking about? So yeah, Tamar is back in Palestine, and I'm here, and I'm continuing to have more and more experiences, and it's different from the experiences that I have when I'm in Palestine and when I'm speaking up for Palestine in Palestine, or when I'm speaking up for liberation of all living beings in Palestine. But it's also similar in many ways. And this is what I want to talk about. This is why the title of this live is The Cults Are Everywhere. Okay? Because I'm going to say something now that might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, okay? So whenever someone starts with, I'm going to say an unpopular opinion, usually they say a popular opinion, okay? And they just want to say that it's an unpopular opinion to get I don't know, like support, like to pretend that they're a victim or something. But I think I'm going to say an unpopular opinion among the movement to free Palestine, okay? And here is the unpopular opinion. So I see a lot of people in this movement kind of scapegoating Israel and Zionists, okay? And this is understandable to a great extent, and also justifiable to a great extent, okay? And I'm not saying that it isn't. Because what is going on with the Zionist cult is one of the craziest cults in history. I had a video about that a couple of weeks ago on my Instagram page that I said that like something, like it kind of dawned on me, not that I didn't know it, but it was like a wow moment, that like, yeah, I was born into one of the most crazy, most insane cults in the history of the planet. Okay? And what the Zionist cult is doing right now is very extreme. It's one of the greatest crimes of the 21st century, certainly so far, and maybe by the end of the 21st century, I will probably not be here. Probably none of the people watching this will still be here. Although I hope we all are still here by the end of the 21st century. Maybe it will be crowned like one of the most extremely violent acts in the 21st century, but only if you look at intra-human violence, okay? If you look at violence, Tamar is saying towards humans. Yes, Tamar, please trust me. If you look at violence from humans coming from humans towards other species, there is no contest. The Holocaust of non-human animals in the industries, the meat, dairy, eggs, leather, all the animal products industries, this violence is the most extreme ever, and there is no comparison. Okay, the number two, the second place is way below. Okay, just there is no comparison. But let's go back to Zionism. It is very much true that if you only consider intra-human violence and humanists, people who take up a humanist position, they don't even count violence that is coming from humans towards other species. So to them, it is understandable that to them it's like we've never imagined anything like that. And then it makes sense that people who support the liberation of Palestine would look at Israelis, at the Zionist cult, okay, more specifically, more accurately, the Zionist cult, and would be like, what the fuck is this? And up till now, okay, I understand. But then there's another step. And the other step is the step of separation. Saying that there is something fundamentally and essentially different about the members of the Zionist cult, that they are completely different from us. They are not humans, and we are humans. Okay? And this, I believe, is both wrong and dangerous. Okay? So maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm no stranger to expressing unpopular opinions. Okay? So I will express this one now. And I will explain. So I think that what is going on with Zionism, I think that what the Zionists are doing in Palestine in general for 78 years, or a century, or over a century, depends on how you count exactly, and in the last 2 years, especially and in particular in Gaza, I think it is the most human thing that you can imagine. Why? Because humans, the thing that humans do, and we see it more and more and more and more and more throughout history, is to go along with structures of power, to collaborate with structures of power, to collaborate with hierarchies, to maintain and enforce hierarchies, and to do this in a way that is extremely violent. Okay? And as was said about the Holocaust of the Jews inflicted on them by the Germans, the Nazis, the main reason that it was so atrocious was circumstantial, really, because technology had reached a stage. So two main reasons that I can think of. One reason is that technology reached a stage where systematic annihilation became possible. And the other reason is that another form of technology, not physical technology, but more mental technology, the technology of mind control, of indoctrination, of propaganda, which was a form of technology perfected by the West in general, and Nazi Germany especially, and in particular, a type of technology that was perfected by them. And, it was aided by actual, physical technology called cinema. Leni Riefenstahl was Riefenstahl? I think it's Riefenstahl. In Hebrew, when you write in Hebrew, there is the letter pei or fei, and you cannot distinguish whether it's P or F, and especially when it's a name. So I think it's Riefenstahl, Leni Riefenstahl, but correct me if I'm wrong. She was a very famous movie director. F, okay, good, thank you, Tama. She was a very famous movie director, and her job was to spread Nazi propaganda so she developed the technology of propaganda, and she used another form of technology called cinema, okay? And mass media. So these are the two main reasons that that Holocaust was as atrocious as it was able to be as atrocious as it was, because of technology of weapons and technology of mind control. And if you look at the Zionist cult, again, these two things, we see the technology of weapons has come a very, very long way. There are very sophisticated weapons being used on Gaza, and in fact, you can say that one of the main reasons that this genocide is even happening is because Gaza is a huge laboratory where the Zionist cult, which is in some sense both a military base and a how do I call it, a weapons development industry hub for the West and for the U.S. empire, tests their new inventions of weapons. Okay? So we see that there is new technology of weapons being used in Gaza, and this is one of the reasons that contributes to this genocide being so horrific. Another reason for why this genocide is so horrific is, again, the technology of mind control. If you look at the system of propaganda being used inside the Zionist cult, and this is something that I talk about a lot on this channel, and that I think I will never cease to talk about, because I think it's one of the main subjects that needs to be explained and investigated to its last detail, because it's so important, it's so crucial, it's so critical in what's going on. The system of Zionist propaganda is one of the most elaborate systems of propaganda and indoctrination in the history of planet Earth. Okay? And the result of it is a bunch of people who cannot be reasoned with, and who cannot reason, and who are so detached from reality, from logic, from compassion, from anything that would allow them to make the correct, right, and moral decisions, So we see again these two factors being coming together to create such an extreme situation. There are other factors that you can put into it. One factor is that the Zionist cult is a very old cult. It's been building up for over a century. You know, when like the proto-Zionism was mid 19th century, and now we're in 2025, and the Zionist cult has been around for, you can say, 150 years. So it's a very mature cult. We have generations upon generations upon generations, generational, like Ori is saying again, exactly, generations upon generations upon generations of deep indoctrination and propaganda. Parents washing their children's brains, who wash their children's brains, who watch their children's brains for 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 generations. Okay? Howdy, excellent kafia. Thank you so much. I am using every opportunity to wear this kafia because I know that the moment I go back to Palestine, I will not have such opportunities anymore. Or at least these opportunities will be much more rare. Another reason, another factor in this that connects to the previous factor is that Gaza is such a confined space with so many people living in it and surrounded by walls. But this didn't happen overnight, right? This happened over a process starting from 1948 with the Nakba, and then a lot of the indigenous Palestinian population were expelled by the Zionist settlers and invaders into the Gaza Strip, and then it didn't have a wall around it. But through the years, and now we're talking about exactly 77 years, okay, from 1948 until now, maybe coming up on 78 years. You know, it's crazy that like when I started this channel, it was 2023. And I would say 75 years. But then the years go by and the genocide continues. And now I have to say 77. And soon I will have to say 78. I need to update the number of years. But in some sense, I like in my mind, it's still 2023, you know? Like I don't know, this is a very distant tangent, but I just realized that my mind is frozen in the 7th of October of 2023. Like, I cannot fathom that this horrific thing has been going on for so long, almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years, 2 years. So much has happened and so little has changed. And so much has changed. I don't even know how to, I don't know. I don't know what the words are to describe this weird situation, this bizarrely horrifically bizarre situation. So another factor is that through 77 or 78 years, the Gaza Strip became what it became, which is a huge concentration camp with around 2 million people. No one knows exactly how many people at this point, right? Because we don't know exactly how many people were murdered. We know that there were 2.3 million people in the Gaza Strip on October 7th of 2023. We don't know how many people are in the Gaza Strip currently. No one knows. So this is another factor. But you see, I'm saying factors for why this situation is as extreme and as horrific as it is, and none of those factors are an essential property of these people who are part of the Zionist cult. Another factor that you can say is that Zionists are descendants of the victims of horrific atrocities themselves, and that the Jewish Holocaust was used and abused by the West, by Germany, by Europe, by the US, by the UK, was used and abused by these forces of the West to enlist the victims of that Holocaust to become the perpetrators of a new Holocaust. This is another factor. But again, it's not an essential property of those people. Okay? And the bottom line is that the members of the Zionist cult are just in a very extreme situation. And this extreme situation is not something that is disconnected from the extreme situation of the rest of the planet. It is not something that is disconnected from everything that's happening around it. It's not a unique thing. This is my point, and this is maybe the unpopular opinion that I've been expressing for, 18 minutes now. And this is what I want to talk about today. That, we want to stop the genocide, right? Because the genocide is horrible. We want to stop the genocide. So, I think, so we need to think seriously about the root cause of the genocide. If we do not take care of the root cause of the genocide, we cannot stop the genocide. So I say, the root cause of the genocide is Zionism. Which is true to some extent, but then I say, okay, so we need to dissolve Zionism. We need to dissolve the cult of Zionism. We need to dismantle the Zionist project. We need to dismantle Israel, which is the main, tool that the Zionist project is using to promote its interests. The state of Israel was formed as a part of the Zionist project. Okay, and it's a political, economic, social, cultural tool that's being used to promote the interest of the Zionist project, and specifically the genocide of the Palestinians. So I'm saying, okay, we need to dismantle the state of Israel. We need to dissolve the cult of Zionism. We need to dismantle the Zionist project. Again, true. But then we can go one step further and ask, okay, what is the root cause of the Zionist project? And I think that this is a very, very important step that not enough people in the movement to free Palestine do seriously enough. I'm not saying that that I'm making up something new or that I'm a unique voice here, okay? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that we should put more emphasis on this. Because there is no way, okay, on a very pragmatic level, the US supports the Zionist project with billions and billions and billions of dollars of direct investment every single year. Tens of billions, or maybe hundreds of billions, I don't even know what the figure is, of indirect investment every single year. With military aid worth, again, I don't know how many tens of billions of dollars. With diplomatic support that is priceless, okay? Vetoing every single UN proposition, okay? That is against Israel. So how can you dismantle the Zionist project if the Zionist project is being supported by the most powerful empire on the planet? How can you do that? And, I've been listening to some things by Jason Hickel. I really like the way that he speaks. And And he says that the US that the Zionist project is a direct interest of the US empire. And this is just true. Why? Because it's a way, the US has a lot of different ways to project power around the planet. Okay, so for example, they have military bases in South Korea. Okay, they meddled in the affairs of every single South American and Latin American country. Okay, at some point in the 20th and 21st century, they have puppet governments all over the planet, in Syria, in Egypt, okay, North Africa. And of course, they have a lot of control over Europe. So they find ways to meddle in the affairs of many countries around the world and to project power all over the planet. And Israel is their main way of projecting power in the Middle East. Okay? So why would the US give up this wonderful and valuable asset called Israel? Why? Because some Palestinians want to dismantle it? Why? Because some leftists want to dismantle it? Why? Because some people came to some park and started shouting down with Zionism and free Palestine? Probably not. Probably not, right? So I think that if we are serious about liberating Palestine, we must be serious about liberating the entire planet. This is the bumper sticker version of this entire video, okay? And after having said that, and in the chat, Marx and Engels, I simply adore that screen name each time, says, I agree, the root cause of Zionism needs to be addressed. Capitalism and imperialism and everything that comes with it. I agree completely. Okay? And so I said that we need to address the root cause, which is something that is much more global. And now I want to tell you some stories, okay, about what I've been experiencing in Portugal, okay, not in the Zionist cult, not inside the Zionist cult, in Portugal, okay, some stuff that I've been experiencing in Portugal. Where should I start? Tamar, where should I start? Should I start with the German woman? What do you say? Should I start with the German woman? Yes, okay. So I'm asking Tamar because she was part of many of these instances. So we were staying at this weird guest house, and rich yacht people. Can you write down some stuff to jog my memory, Tamar? Write down all the things that you want me to talk about. Tamar, you're my assistant here, okay? Boat. I don't know what you're talking about. Write more words so that I will remember. So, okay. So Tamar and I were in some guest house. See, Tamar is thousands of kilometers away from me, and we still work together. We were at some guest house around Lisbon, in a place that we were thinking maybe we want to go to live there. It's not a place that we like. After all, it's very posh, and we don't want posh, okay? But we were staying at this guest house there. Yeah, rich people that have yachts and walk the Avenida del... Yeah, okay, I will talk about that. Yeah, I will talk about that. So, and there was a young German woman living in this guest house. Posh is the enemy of a united humanity. Well said, well put. This is one of the points that I want to make in this video. So there was a young German woman who was staying at that guest house because she was studying. She's a student and she studies nearby, and she was staying at that guest house like for an extended period. Okay, never mind. We started talking to her. Actually, the first time that we talked to her, I was in a conversation. We were in a conversation with a Brazilian guy, and he asked where we're from, and we gave the normal answer of we're from the place called Israel, but we prefer calling it Palestine. And we started talking about the Zionist cult and how crazy it is, and we started dispelling the myths that it's Netanyahu and the government and the both siding and the blah blah blah. And we said to him, you know, the Israelis are crazy, the Zionists are crazy, it's blah 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 blah. And then she came in, and then she was like, I didn't understand exactly what she said, but she kind of made the connection between Zionism and Judaism. So Tamar and I made it perfectly clear that we're talking about Zionism, not about Judaism. And then I started saying that I'm against all religions, and I wanted to say I'm against all religions and specifically against Judaism as well. But the reason that I'm against Judaism is very different from the reason that I'm against Zionism. Okay, and that religions are problematic in one way, but Zionism is problematic in a very different way. Okay, but she was like, "What? You're against all religions?" And then I understood, like the conversation pretty much stopped there because she was very taken aback by my extreme statements that I'm against all religions. Never mind. So a couple of days later, we were sitting in the garden of the guest house, and we saw her sitting next to us, and we started another discussion. We didn't have a lot of time because we had to catch a train to somewhere else, but we spoke for a short time. And we explained to her about Zionism, okay? We started anew, and we explained to her about Zionism and how Zionism is a crazy idea. And then it turned out that I don't remember the exact details. Something like her brother is married to an Israeli woman and their children were born in Israel. Something like that. I don't remember the exact details. But apparently she also was, influenced directly by Zionist propaganda, but also she was influenced by Zionist propaganda from the very fact that she was born and raised in Germany. And we know that Germany is the second most Zionist country or third most Zionist country in the planet after Israel and maybe the US. So she started saying Zionist propaganda, okay? And we were, answering all her talking points in a calm way. But the one that I want to tell you about, which was the most chilling, was the following. She was like, "But what is the problem? What is the problem with Israel? The Jews, instead of living in other places, they can all live together. and then there is no problem. Then there is no problem. They can live together. And then they can, if they want to have vacation day on Saturday, they can have vacation day on Saturday. If they want to do their religion, they can do their religion. What is the problem? To have a place where all the Jews can live. And I think that moment was maybe the most lol the accent. I did my best German accent. I think that moment was maybe the most concrete, direct, blunt example of how Zionism equals anti-Semitism that I've ever seen in my entire life. If I wanted to write a skit whose point was Zionism equals anti-Semitism, this would be, I could not have written anything better than that. Okay? Because I want to say two things, okay? First thing that I want to say is, please think about what she is saying, and please consider that what she is saying can be summed up in two words in German, and those two words are Juden raus. This is what she was saying, Juden raus. And this is why what I answered her was, this is what Hitler started out thinking. He wanted to kick all the Jews out, and actually wanted, at some point was thinking seriously about kicking all the Jews out to Palestine. And then he found out that he couldn't do it, so he was like, okay, let's do the final solution of extermination, okay? But this was Hitler's original idea. Ethnic cleansing, Judenraus, go to Palestine. But let's think about another point. And the second point is that what she was saying was a very, very classical Zionist argument. Okay? Classical. If you talk to Zionists, maybe the most important point that they have to make is the Jews are persecuted all around the world. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. It's always on the rise. All around the world. We went through a Holocaust. Never again. How do we solve this? We all come to the state of Israel. Then we are protected. We need a state of our own. The state of Israel. Then we will be protected. And we will have a place of our own where we can live with each other. So you see what Hitler said and what Zionists say all the time came together in the words of that young German woman who thinks she is very progressive, who thinks she is very liberal. And when I said to her, this is what Hitler thought, this is what Hitler said, I'm sure that she was shocked, okay? That she says the same things as Hitler. I don't know if it made her reconsider her position. But there was something very, very chilling about that moment, I must say, because that maybe I didn't set the scene correctly, because that German girl, she was walking very softly and talking very softly and always had a small smile on her face, but something was dead in her eyes. Something was dead in her eyes, and just so you cannot understand what she thinks, you cannot understand how she feels, you cannot understand. It's blocked, completely blocked, and the glazed look in her eyes. The same glazed look I see in the eyes of Zionists when I speak with them, of my family when I speak with them about these issues. So when you see this kind of persona saying to you what amounts to Juden raus, I was like sent back to 1930 whatever, and I imagined her type saying the very same things in 1930 whatever, in 1940 whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this is the mindset that allowed my grandfather's entire family to be murdered. This is the mindset. Like there were, of course, many different types of Nazis. Like there are, of course, many different types of Zionists. There are the overtly fascist Zionists, and there are the liberal Zionists who are only what's the opposite of overtly? Covertly fascist. And there were, the extreme Nazis, the open Nazis, and the liberal Nazis. And she was a liberal Nazi through and through. Like if she was living in the 1930s, she's a nice liberal German Nazi. Yeah, that's what she was. And if she was living in Germany in the 1930s, 1940s, she would definitely support what was going on, with a small smile on her face and a glazed look in her eyes. So it was super chilling to have that conversation. So you see, this exists in Germany. This is rampant in Germany, the progressive country of Germany. So this is one experience. Another experience I want to talk about so Tamar and I were walking around that area, that posh area. And maybe one last point about the last story. Like, what is the core problem here? Let's define the core problem here. The core problem is that she thinks the Jews are essentially different from her, and that she thinks that different groups of people, and I would say different groups of living beings, have essential differences between them, and that they should be divided up according to those essential differences. Okay? And I think that this mind frame, okay, this way of thinking is a great tool in the service of the system, okay? Because divide and conquer, okay? If you create separation, then you can create conflict between those who actually have the same material interest. This is Marxism 101. I'm not making anything new up here, okay? If you divide, you can control. And this is the way that we are being controlled. This is why I mentioned borders and airports. These are, the places where the separation is the most, the most intense, the most explicit. Okay? I don't know how I will be able to cover all of it. Maybe I will do another live stream tomorrow. Okay. I think all these stories they deserve the right treatment. Okay. My thoughts. I think it's important thoughts that have been brewing in my mind, and I really, really want to express them in a clear way. So I will take my time, and if I don't manage to go over everything today, I will go over it tomorrow or the next. Okay? Or the next day. You know what? I will go from here to another story that connects directly to this story. Last Thursday, there was a protest in front of the German embassy in Lisbon, an anti-genocide protest organized by, so I thought when I heard about it, a group of anti-Zionist Jews. And I was like, okay, interesting, wonderful. I should go to this protest. That's exactly, and I was already fired up. The situation with that German woman happened only like 2 days before, so I was fired up about that. And then I said, okay, that's or maybe it was 1 day before. It was 1 day before. I think the situation with the German woman was on Wednesday, and on Thursday was the protest in front of the German embassy. So I was like, okay, I need to go. There's like something here. So I arrive at that protest when they were setting up stuff, and immediately I see the people there are Israelis, okay? I didn't even have to hear them speaking Hebrew. I don't know how, but I immediately recognized that many of them were Israelis. So I go up to the organizers and I start speaking with them in Hebrew, and I introduce myself. I say, hi, ani Alon, ma nishma, in Hebrew, okay? My name is Alon, how are you? And they say their names, and okay. And then I ask, okay, so is this like a protest by Israeli anti-Zionists? And they don't answer. Israel Dar, yeah, I have an Israel Dar. And they don't answer, which was slightly suspicious. But I was like, okay. And I continued a little bit awkwardly. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Never mind, okay. And then the protest starts, and I see that the energies of the protest are so low, that the slogans that they are saying are super weak. They say stop the genocide, okay. They say Israel bombs, Germany pays, okay. I'm not saying this does not need to be said, but other things need to be said. But they were not said. Other things like dismantle Zionism, other things like Zionism is Nazism, other things like Germany is still a Nazi state, other things like Israel is a big ghetto in Palestine. Whatever, stuff like that. Stuff that would really challenge, that would really expose reality for what it is. None of this was said. And after they shouted some slogans very weakly, weak slogans very weakly, they started doing speeches, and it was like the atmosphere was, I will try to describe the atmosphere. The atmosphere was like, so there was this guy, and he was facing, so let's say this is the embassy, this is like the fences that they put, there's like a street here, this is the embassy building, this is the street, then they put like fences here, and here there's a garden, and the protesters are here. So the guy is standing here, and he's not facing the embassy, he's facing the protesters, the garden with the protesters, and he's with a microphone, but he's speaking so softly that you can barely hear him, even with the microphone, and he's talking in like this roundabout, long-winded way about Germany, and how his family was a family of Holocaust survivors. I'm not saying that it wasn't important what he was saying, but even the protesters were bored. Even the protesters weren't listening, and they were bored. What kind of protest is it that even the protesters are like sitting on the ground and like this, half asleep? Is this a protest? What is going on? And the more this, progressed, the more I was like, fuck, what is this? And I wanted to scream, and I was ready to explode, So yeah, the wishy-washy stuff is always the red flag at these things for me. Yes, 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 yes. Right on the money. So you know me, my voice is quite loud, and I don't miss an opportunity to say the most extreme stuff. So I was looking for every single chance that I had to say the extreme stuff that I was giving examples, like Zionism is Nazism, like Germany is still a Nazi state, like all these things. Okay, I was shouting them at the top of my voice every opportunity that I got. Okay, and when I did so, some people in the protest I saw really liked it and joined me. They just wanted that bit of encouragement and that bit of permission to do it. But they didn't get it. They didn't get it. Why? Because the protest was organized by people who didn't want these things being said, especially not as loudly as I was saying them. Okay, so they finished with all the speeches. And then the woman who was like kind of hosting the thing and invited all the speakers, she said, does anyone else want to speak? And I was waiting to see if anyone really wanted to speak, but after a few seconds I realized that no one was answering, so I was like, yeah, I will go speak. I wanted to use this opportunity. But it's something that I never did. I never grabbed the megaphone at any protest that I ever went to. I never gave a speech at any protest that I ever went to. It was the first time for me. Okay? Hopefully not the last. And I was already very fired up, okay? But when I was walking to grab the megaphone, one of the Israeli guys, his name is Chico. If you live in Lisbon, beware of a guy named Chico, okay? Chico is short for Moshiko, which is the nickname for Moshe, Moses. Okay, his name is Moshe. He started talking to me, and he said to me in Hebrew, he said to me something to this effect. He said, "Watch out! Speak like a person, not like a lunatic. Speak like a person, not like a lunatic. Don't speak like a small child. Don't just shout things like a small child." And then he finished by saying, "This is not your protest." And what the fuck being said in the chat, what the fuck is correct. What an open-minded person. So what I felt immediately was an agent of the Zionist cult trying to silence me because I was saying things that go directly against the Zionist cult. At this point I can feel it in my bones, I know the vibes so fucking well. Maybe the words are different, the specific words are different each and every time, but the vibe is the same vibe. A Zionist pretending to be against, and these people were waving Palestinian flags, okay? And Drew is asking in the chat, well then, is it his protest? I am sure that this is what he thinks. He thinks that this is his protest. And he's like, know your place, know your place. And when I was holding the megaphone and speaking, I felt his eyes looking at me, watching me. More precisely, surveying me. It was surveillance. It was policing to make sure that I don't step out of line. Same thing happened with white South African liberals and black liberation groups. Okay, same phenomenon. Mossadish. Maybe he was part of the Mossad at some point in his life, I don't know. Or maybe it's just, the mentality. Maybe it's the mentality. And maybe Zionists all have the same mentality. Hierarchical structure and mindset is another root cause, Tamar says, and I agree completely. Not surprisingly, because this is a conclusion that we reached together in the last couple of years. So, I felt him watching me, okay? But I said my piece, okay? What did I say? I said that Germany, I said that my grandfather's entire family was murdered in the Holocaust by Germany, and that they tried to enact their final solution of extermination of all the Jews. They couldn't, so instead they changed the final solution to sending all the Jews to one huge ghetto in Palestine, where now 7 million Jews live in that ghetto. And to maintain that ghetto, they had to create another ghetto to kick out the Palestinian population, to create another ghetto in Gaza and in the West Bank, and to carry out another genocide. I spoke about this, and I said that Germany is still a Nazi state. It never denazified. And then I said that Israel should be dismantled, that Zionism should be dismantled, that Germany should be dismantled, that all states should be dismantled, that all states are just big mafias that are controlling our lives and that are serving the rich and powerful. And then there were police officers watching us, okay? Police officers watching us and protecting the embassy, okay? And I said, and all police officers are servants of the state, and therefore they are servants of the rich and powerful, so they are our enemies. And we should dismantle all states, and we should dismantle the system, and we should bring down the system, and so forth and so on. Okay, this is what I said. And by the end of this speech, a lot of people liked it. A lot of people applauded, okay? But the Israelis did not. The Israelis did not. Okay, so the protest was finished. And after the protest was finished, I was just waiting for a chance to start to shout the more extreme slogans, and people joined me. And I did like an after protest, okay? The precious Zionist entity was being threatened. Exactly, precisely. I love my chat. I love my chat. Thank you so much, people writing in the chat. I love my you give me you give me the right directions. You give me the right ideas. Thank you so much. I love that this is a discussion and that this is interactive. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. So at some point we grew tired of yelling the slogans, and things fizzled out. And then I just couldn't hold it in any longer, and I walked up to this guy Shiko, who tried to silence me. I walked up to him, and I stood in front of him, and I just asked him, in Hebrew, okay? I just asked him, are you a Zionist? This is what I asked him. And his immediate response was, of course, not answering my question, but starting to shout at me and to curse me. He's like, how dare you come to me and ask me such questions? And then he said in Hebrew, he started the sentence with Imashcha. Imashcha means your mother. And when you say in Hebrew, Imashcha, especially in that tone, this is like your mother's a whore, okay? This is what it means, okay? It's a curse word. Imashcha. But then he continued the sentence to disguise that he was cursing my mother, okay? He said, your mother didn't even bring you to this world when I was already an activist, a leftist activist. You know nothing about activism. You're just a small child playing in the sand with your stupid, simplistic slogans. Stop saying your slogans. You're just a small child. Blah, 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 blah. And you know, I was a little bit taken aback, but I was like, okay, whatever. But what I asked was, are you a Zionist? Do you support the dismantlement of the state of Israel? Do you support the dismantlement of the Zionist project? Do you support a full right of return for all Palestinian refugees? And then he took another angle. The second angle was, you're just an Ashkenazi Jew. You know, Ashkenazi Jew means like the white kind of Jew, because he is a Mizrahi Jew, okay, the dark Jew, and I'm a white Jew, and he's a dark Jew. All these Ashkenazi Jews, they come to me and they tell me how to do the things, and they're so stupid, and they don't understand anything, and they're condescending, blah 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 blah. So I tell him, listen, bro, I'm not Ashkenazi. Like as many people who watch my channel know, I'm half and half, okay? One side of my family is from Eastern Europe, okay? Specifically Poland and Belarus. And the other side of my family is from the Levant, or more specifically, Syria and the Shiraz area in Iran. So I'm half and half. I'm not Ashkenazi, okay? I'm just not. But in any case, what does that have to do with it? Okay, what does that have to do with it? It's just a way to, avoid the question. Those Ashkenazi Jews, they come to me, and then he goes, and I asked him, do you want to dismantle Zionism? Do you want to dismantle the state of Israel? And he says, I want you to get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! That's what I want! I want you to get the fuck out of here! Like this. Okay, blah, 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 blah. At some point, I was just like, okay. Immediately, okay. When I asked that if he was a Zionist and he started yelling and cursing me, within 2 seconds, I knew that he was a Zionist. I got my answer. But I wanted to continue pushing, okay? But at some point I was like, okay, he's just yelling bullshit. So I was like, okay, whatever. I went back. And then what I decided to do was to go to some of the people that I saw supported me when I was giving the speech, when I was yelling the extreme slogans, okay? And joined me, and to tell them that this protest is organized by Zionists. So I went around and I told people that this protest is organized by Zionists. And then the other Israeli organizers of the protest came to me and started talking to me. What are you doing? What are you doing? We're not Zionists. We're not Zionists. And then I was fired up and I argued with them. I fought with them. It was a whole drama. Okay. So two things were happening. This is a blur in my mind now. Okay. But what was happening was two things, that I was fighting and arguing with the organizers, with the Israeli Zionist organizers of the protest, and that I was going around and telling other people who are not Israeli that the organizers of the protest are Zionists, and that there were a lot of arguments, okay? So now I want to say, okay, in retrospect, I was not accurate enough because because the protest was actually organized by two organizations. I want to make this very clear. One of them is an organization of Jewish people for Palestine, Jews for Palestine, okay, in Lisbon, and they are not Zionists. And the other organization is an organization of Israelis for Palestine in Lisbon, and they are Zionists, okay? And it's important for me to separate, because at some point I started yelling at one of the women from the other organization, from the Organization of Jews for Palestine in Lisbon, and I said that she was a Zionist as well because she was defending the other guys. Okay, so I retract that accusation. Okay, maybe, after the fact, I retract that accusation. But I must say that it is problematic that this organization of Jews for Palestine that are anti-Zionist and declaratively anti-Zionist still were fooled into cooperating with this Zionist organization, and therefore dampening the efforts of the protest and making it wishy-washy, okay, and making it much less effective, and making it and letting it be appropriated by the Zionist cult, okay. And now I want to burn this organization. I want to. I said this to a lot of people that there is an organization. It's called Israelitas Pela Palestina. Okay, this is an organization of Israeli people in Lisbon who pretend to be for Palestine, but are actually Zionists and are actually, undercover agents of the Zionist cult within the pro-Palestine movement, within anti-Zionism, okay? And they are a menace. So they need to be exposed for who and what they are, and they should be rejected completely from the pro-Palestine movement, okay? So I think it was very ironic that Zionism still, was persecuting me. Still, in Lisbon. I went to Lisbon imagine this, I went to a pro-Palestine event in Lisbon, and what I experienced was the persecution of the Zionist cult, okay? And this is another part of my point, that it's all around us, and it's no coincidence that this was there, okay? It's no coincidence that this was there, because it's everywhere. Okay, I've been going on for a long time, and I'm here at Helena's place, who is so graciously hosting me. Thank you so much again, Helena, for hosting me in your place so that I can do this live stream. But I promised her that I will not go on for too long, so that she can go to sleep at a reasonable time. So I want to wrap things up. And maybe tomorrow or the next day, whenever I have another opportunity, I will tell you more experiences. And again, the bottom line is that it's everywhere. Oppression is everywhere. Cults are everywhere. Brainwashed people are everywhere. Propaganda is everywhere. Supremacy is everywhere. Hierarchies are everywhere. Capitalism is everywhere. Human supremacy and carnism are everywhere. And I want to focus on the next live stream. I want to focus about how carnism is everywhere, okay? And my recent encounters with carnism and how horrible they were. And you can't get away with it. You can't get away from capitalism, and you can't get away from carnism. You can't get away from statism and patriotism. You can't get away from patriarchy. You can't get away from liberalism. You can't get away from identity politics. Okay? You can't get away from any of that. Yes, in occupied Palestine, within the Zionist cult, all of the above are extreme, are even more extreme. Is your t-shirt from Extinction Rebellion? No, it's just my dad gave it to me. I don't know where it's from. My dad wasn't wearing it, and I was like, "Oh, it looks nice. Can I have it?" And he was like, "Sure." In any case, but you can imagine that it's from Extinction Rebellion. Sure, why not? So in any case, my point is that you cannot get away from it. When you live in occupied Palestine within the Zionist cult, everything is very extreme, even more extreme than usual. But it doesn't mean that when you go someplace else, it doesn't exist, okay? So in the next live stream, which will happen either tomorrow I have a couple of events for Palestine that I want to go to, so probably not tomorrow, but maybe the next day, I will do a live stream where I will be speaking about my experiences both with capitalism and with colonialism in general. You cannot get away from colonialism. Portugal is a colonialist country. Every single European country is a colonialist country. Okay? You cannot get away from colonialism. You cannot get away from capitalism, and you cannot get away from carnism. And all of this supports the Zionist cult and the genocide. Okay? A question in the chat. How is it that you don't speak Arabic if you're half Arabic? This is a long story about how Zionism oppressed Jews of Arabic descent, okay? Of Arabic origin, okay? Jews who came from Arabic speaking countries. So let's stop here. This is a good place to stop. Because of Hebrew language supremacy. Yeah, that's a short answer. Thank you everyone for being with me, and join me in part 2 of The Cults Are Everywhere. Okay? So bye bye, and have a good night, and free Palestine, and free the entire planet, and down with Zionism, and down with the entire system, down with human supremacy, down with capitalism, down with all hierarchies, down with the patriarchy, down with colonialism, okay, down with statism, down with all systems of supremacy, down with this huge system of supremacy and hierarchy, and free the entire planet, and free all living beings. Bye bye.